In the shadows of the Lookism universe, long before the rise of corporate empires and ruthless crews, there was a time when men settled things the old-fashioned way, with their fists and their wits. This was the era of the Zeroth generation, a time when raw talent and sheer power determined who ruled the streets. In today's video, we're going to be diving into the most iconic fighting styles and techniques of the Zeroth generation, breaking down who used them, how they work, and why they were so legendary. But really quick, YouTube tells me that over 89% of you people watching my videos aren't subscribed, and that's crazier than Eugene's 5D chess strategies. So if you enjoy my content, hit that subscribe button. It's free and it takes less time than a UI Daniel speed blitz. You can always unsubscribe later anyway. But with that out of the way, let's break down every fighting style in the Zeroth generation. Gapryong Kim wasn't just number one of the Zeroth generation, he was a force beyond comprehension. Even Charles Choi admitted that if his strength came only from his hands, he wouldn't have been second in command. His power was simply on another level. Jinyoung Park, a master of analysis, stated that Gapryong's finesse and control were unmatched, making even the simplest moves lethal. Despite being past his prime, Elite could still defeat a first-gen king with ease, yet he served under Gapryong. Tae-soo confirmed that only 3 fighters, Gapryong Kim, Jae Kim, and Ki Tae, could block the invisible attacks from monsters like Elite, James Lee, and Sinu Han. That level of reaction speed speaks for itself. Even with the copy ability, Jinyoung Park could only replicate 3 of Gapryong's moves, proving his skill was beyond imitation. With the current Busan arc with Jinyoung, we may finally uncover more about this legendary fighter. But even now, his status as one of the strongest in Lookism is undeniable. Jinyoung Park isn't just a fighter, he's a scientist of combat. A man who has dedicated his life to analyzing and perfecting martial arts. As a key figure of the Zeroth generation, he possessed the copy ability that allows him to replicate and master techniques from even the strongest of fighters. His skill level is absurd. He's fought legends like Gapryong Kim and Elite, gaining first-hand experience against the best. He held his own against second body Daniel's UI, one of the most overpowered states in Lookism, even if only for a short amount of time. Yet, despite his ability to copy countless moves, he could only mimic 3 from Gapryong Kim, proving just how monstrous the latter was. Jinyoung's superhuman adaptability makes him unpredictable in battle. His movements are so refined that he's been described as someone who can optimize even the most basic techniques to their peak efficiency. While his past remains shrouded in mystery, Jinyoung's influence on the strongest fighters like Daniel, James Lee, and the Zeroth generation's elites cements him as one of Lookism's greatest tacticians and combatants. Charles Choi, once the second in command of the Zeroth generation, Charles Choi, better known as Elite, was a lethal force under Gapryong Kim. He mastered invisible attacks, a technique so fast it strikes blind spots undetected. His variations specialize in precision kicks and targeting the back of the head, making him a legitimate threat to even Gapryong himself. But Charles wasn't just a fighter. He was a master strategist. His intelligence allowed him to outwit and kill both Ji Chang-kwok and No Baku, proving his dominance extended beyond combat. Age and health issues and the loss of his arm have weakened his abilities, limiting his use of invisible attacks, yet despite this, he still overpowered Ji Chang-kwok and easily took down the number 1 of the workers' affiliate. A testament to the legend he once was. Even in decline, Charles Choi's legacy as a fighter and tactician remains untouchable. Shingen Yamazaki. Shingen possessed the rare black bone trait, granting him near immunity to blades and swords. As Yamazaki's clan's generational head, he also inherited the Ultra Instinct, but with far greater control due to his ogre-like build. This allowed him to defeat all the vassals who rebelled against him, cementing his dominance. Even in his lethargic state, he gradually overwhelmed Shintaro, despite likely not having fought since his defeat by Gapryong Kim. When Shintaro wounded him, took his arm using the Yodo Muramasa, it wasn't due to weakness. Shingen deliberately let it happen to protect Gun. Shingen was born with the reverse eyes, making him capable of the true unconscious state where he stops controlling his Ultra Instinct and fights purely on instinct. In this form, he can't distinguish friend from foe, and his power becomes uncontrollable and monstrous. Gapryong Kim himself stated that Shingen doesn't use Ultra Instinct to get stronger. He uses it to suppress his power. If he ever lets go fully, the Oni within him is unleashed, bringing indiscriminate destruction. Even fatally wounded, with only one arm, Shingen ripped bodies apart effortlessly and rendered the Yodo Muramasa's advantage meaningless. His sheer brutality and dominance makes him one of the most terrifying figures in Lookism's history. Shintaro Yamazaki, a prominent member of the Yamazaki family, shares many of the same deadly traits as his brother Shingen, but with a few distinct differences. Like all the Yamazaki family members, Shintaro possesses the Black Bone trait, making him invulnerable to blades and swords. His speed and fighting prowess are comparable to that of Shingen, but Shintaro's true strength lies in his ability to control the Ultra Instinct at will, a skill he's honed through training, unlike his younger brother who was born with the reverse eyes that force him into a constant UI state. Shintaro's immense strength allows him to effortlessly twist the necks of Shingen's nameless children and crush their skulls with ease, demonstrating the raw power he shares with his older brother. However, Shingen's power is innate. Shintaro's strength is the result of his relentless training, pushing him to the limits of what his body can endure. Shintaro also excels in Aikido, a martial art that enhances its ability to counter and redirect attacks. This made him a capable fighter, able to hold his own against Shingen in their battles. In addition, he is proficient with blades and katanas, rounding out his versatility and making him a formidable opponent, even when facing off against a highly skilled or well-armed adversaries. Mujin Jin is a figure shrouded in mystery, with his true strength and abilities remaining largely unknown. However, he was so powerful that Song Ji-yuk, one of the first-generation kings, considered him a rival to Gapryong Kim, which speaks volumes about his fighting prowess. A legendary figure in South Korean Caesarium, Mujin Jin is best known as the father of Mujin Jin Caesarium, a brutal technique where the fighter grips and directly breaks the opponent's bone, a move that exemplifies his raw physical strength. His name alone was enough to send shivers down the spines of this year's generation, cementing his legacy as a force to be reckoned with. Although his true power remains mostly unexplored, Mujin Jin's fearsome reputation and his innovative Caesarium technique make him one of the most intimidating figures in the Lookism universe. Tom Lee isn't a technical fighter. He's a brutal powerhouse who relies on his sheer physicality and unpredictability in battle. His wild and crude fighting style mirrors those of Eli Jang and Samuel So, using his monstrous strength to overwhelm opponents. Despite his hulking frame, Tom Lee is shockingly fast, surprising even Jo Han-seong with his speed, and his durability is on a whole nother level, shrugging off attacks from Warren Chae and Johan as if they were nothing. His raw power is absurd, effortlessly lifting the back of a car and sending Johan flying into a wall with a single hit. Tom Lee also possesses decades of combat experience. He's cunning in battle, and as seen when he faked a headbutt to Warren Chae before biting his nose. He fights ruthlessly, stomping Daniel Parks unconscious without hesitation. Even against Man Deok-bang and Yu Sung, Tom held his ground, proving his dominance. His strength is so ridiculous that he once broke a wall with just a simple flick of his fingers. Manager Kim admitted himself that he couldn't think of a way to defeat Tom. Among the pre-generation, only Gapryong Kim, Elite, and Jinyoung Park were considered capable of surpassing him at their peak. Tom Lee is the definition of brute force, a walking natural disaster whose overwhelming presence makes him one of Lookism's most terrifying fighters. And those are the most iconic figures of this year's generation and their fighting styles. Let me know if I forgot any, and this video was actually pretty fun to make since I kinda missed making documentary style videos. Let me know if you guys want one for the first and second generation, and so yeah.